Hi, it's T. Carlson here. Today we're taking yet another trip back in time to the 1980s, and we're looking at a quintessentially 80s film that I kind of struggled to get my hands on because it's out of print. This is being the 4K of the movie Rad, which came out in 1986. This release is from Vinegar Syndrome, again out of print, but they did have a few copies in stock for the recent sale they did, so I actually managed to snatch one up before they were all gone. I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinions. Great cover art shot there. There's our spine text. Back cover with a description of the film, credits, bonus features, and some shots from the movie as well. There is reversible art on this, so I'll go ahead and switch that out. Okay, and here's the reversed art. Totally different color scheme. That looks pretty cool. Inside the case, we actually get a mini poster. This side has the actual poster art for the film, which looks very cool. Again, something I might have to throw up on the YouTube wall at some point. And on the other side, it actually has a map of the hell track as featured in the film. That's very cool. Inside the case, we have Rad on 4K Ultra High Def, and a disc which just has the movie and the commentary tracks. And then we have the film on Blu-ray disc, which includes the additional bonus features, plus the movie and the aforementioned commentary tracks. Crew Jones is the fastest and most talented BMX rider in his small logging town. When Duke Best, owner of Mongoose Bicycles, decides to hold a competition at a nearly impossible to compete BMX racing course named Hell Track, Crew decides that it's his destiny to compete in the race, which offers a winning cash prize of $100,000. But unknown to Crew, Duke has concocted the race as a publicity stunt to promote his own top rider, Bart Taylor, and begins to do everything in his power to prevent Crew from being able to enter the competition. To make matters even more complicated, Crew soon learns that the race is scheduled the same day. He's supposed to take the SATs and find himself with a choice between his future in college and a race where all odds are stacked against him. One of the most beloved films to emerge from the mid-80s BMX bike craze, Rad has developed into an ever-growing cult audience and stars Bill Allen, Lori Loughlin, two-time Academy Award nominee Talia Shire, Jack Weston, real-life Olympic champion Bart Connor, and more. Directed by prolific stuntman and filmmaker Hal Needham, and featuring stunning photography by Richard Letterman, this fun, fast-paced inspiration for many pro BMX superstars makes its belated Blu-ray and 4K Ultra High-Def debut from Vinegar Syndrome in a brand new, breathtaking 4K restoration from its original 35mm camera negative. Confession time. This was actually my first time ever seeing Rad. I was certainly aware of the film. My brother has actually done a lot of work with BMX bike companies, so I am aware of, the bike world to some extent. But it was my first time actually sitting down and watching the movie. And while this movie is woefully dated and unabashedly a product of its era, that just adds to the charm and makes me like it even more. I mean, it's a pretty simplistic, but at the same time, effective plot for what it does. I mean, I've had people say this is basically the Karate Kid with bicycles instead of karate. And that's actually not too bad of a description. We have a young man here who wants to make a difference, get out of his small town, be somebody, but of course his mother's more interested in pushing him to pursue his education, and he's just seen as a dreamer by many of the locals. The cast includes a handful of big names, including Ray Walston. Walston, of course, appeared on the TV series My Favorite Martian, and perhaps most famously played Mr. Hand in the film Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And then as our young hero's mother, we have Talia Shire, who of course played Connie in the Godfather movies and Adrian in the Rocky movies. So you do get a pretty nice cast here, and you get actual real-life Olympic bike champion Bart Connor portraying Bart Taylor, one of the antagonists in the film. But of course, the true antagonists are the corporate shells that are trying to rig everything against our young hero and make his life a living hell before he can even get to Hell Track. I mean, this movie, again, it's certainly a product of its era. I mean, I don't think there's any other movie ever made that has a dance scene in a high school gymnasium that uses bicycles. And yet, these moments just put a big smile on my face and had me loving things even more. There's a lot of original music in the film, but then there's also some pre-existing music from acts like Real Life and Sparks. So the whole thing looks and sounds great. I love retro 80s cinema, and you can't really do a whole lot better than Rad. Again, this 4K is out of print, but I'm happy to report that for the most part, it looks very good. I've never owned any prior release of Rad, so I can't do a comparison, but the HDR makes the colors really bright and vibrant. At times, the HDR may be a tad too aggressive and push the colors to extremes, but for the most part, it's a pretty good-looking movie. Not the kind of thing that'll ever be reference material for your home theater, but if you want the best, most faithful representation of Rad on home video, this is certainly it. We actually get 3 commentary tracks here, 2 newly recorded ones as well as an archival one, and then we also have several newer featurettes with a lot of the cast and crew on the film, but then a lot of older vintage ones that date back to much earlier eras, even around the time the film first came out. A lot of EPK stuff from that era. So I'm really glad Vinegar Syndrome went all in with this release. If you're a fan of BMX bikes, you're a fan of 80s cinema, anything that falls into any of those categories, I think you'll get a real kick out of Rad. Again, Vinegar Syndrome's 4K is out of print, but there is a Blu-ray Steelbook available from Mill Creek. It doesn't have all of the bonus features from Vinegar Syndrome's release, but that might be your best bet for a more readily available version of the film if you want to get it. How about you? What do you think of Rad? Is this one of your favorite films from the 80s? Is it one that you're just seeing for the first time? Did you manage to scoop up this 4K from Vinegar Syndrome? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure to give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.